Welcome back to Unlocked, guys. I'm so excited to have Christine Quinn here today.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So for those that don't know, she was on the show Selling Sunset, which became like a huge phenomenon. It was crazy how fast that show grew. And you were kind of known as like the breakout star of that show.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed. That's definitely what it felt like. But at first, it was really dark. It was really heavy because I remember when the show came out. I was 29.
Okay.
And I never had social media before. I never had Facebook. I never had Instagram. I never had any of it.
What?
Yeah. So I remember Netflix was like, you guys need to have a social media presence. And so, like all the other girls, like, Heather, was doing this and that, and Chriselle was doing this and that. So they already had like millions of followers.
Yeah.
So I come out with my like profile with like 0 followers, and I'm like, guys, I have a Netflix show. And like my 4 followers were like, yeah, right.
Stop.
But yeah, it was interesting. In the beginning, like people didn't know what to think of me. They just thought I was so evil and mean. And like the first year was really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then after that, like the people that got it, and they're like, oh no, she's quirky, she's cute, I like that, and like people got it, and like, the show wasn't ever meant to be like serious. It was like funny and quirky and goofy and like
Yeah, and too, it's what people see is not always reality.
Totally.
Which is the hard part. And you were kind of placed in a very like villain role.
For sure.
And there was an article that came out to where Jason had said that people were tired of your drama on the show. So it was better to just like move on and start fresh. And what are your views on that?
Well, I mean, he had to say something because I quit, obviously.
Okay, so you quit?
Yeah.
Or they let you go?
No, I quit. Yeah. And it was a decision that I felt coming on for at least 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I just remember saying, I want to stick it out for 5 seasons. Like 5 is my number. Like that's what I want to do. And so after 5, I was like, and I knew it the whole time, like going on 3, I was like, okay, 2 more seasons left. Going on 4, I was like, okay, almost done. Going on 5, I was like, I'm going to light this shit up. Here I go.
So how did you like go out?
How I went out was obviously was really disconnected from the show. I really didn't care. I would go in and film my scenes, and I knew they were going to edit what they were going to edit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just pretty much walk in and, we would do entire scenes that would be edited down to an eye roll. So I would show up knowing that, and I'd say, okay, like I'm just going to text and order food on my phone because I know I'm going to get edited down to an eye roll anyway. So I just really went into it just like, very like, I know this is going to get chopped up anyway.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter like what I said or did. I knew the outcome.
And you had no creative control over it.
Absolutely not. No, none of us did.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's hard because some people were placed as like the little angels, and then you were just hardcore the villain across the board, which I feel like was very unfair.
It was very unfair, and I was on my own island, and it was very unfair. It was, the girls would harass me and bully me. It was, I mean, it was disgusting. It was vile, and I remember the last finale scene of the show. I was wearing a gold sparkly dress, and I had just had a baby a week ago. And I said I wasn't coming to that scene.
Yeah.
And producers, basically, forced me and, gave me ultimatums and this and that. And I said, fine, I'll show up at the end, but for 5 minutes, and I don't want any bullshit. So I showed up, and it's like, you think that someone who just went through, like, a really traumatic birth, who comes onto set and shows up and is like at least, there and being present, you're at least going to be like a little nice to. And like, no, that was like their intervention gangbang, and not in the good way, where it was just like from all different angles. And I'm not talking Eiffel Tower. It was just like not the one you want to have. And it was just all these angles. And I was just like, it doesn't matter what I do. These girls are just.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't they try to say, I feel like I remember seeing something that you had lied about like being pregnant or.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's what happened with that. So, I mean, obviously that, you don't you don't film scenes in chronological order, at least we
No.
didn't.
No.
So, they had what was called evergreen scenes. And so evergreen scenes are scenes that they can kind of place anywhere,
Yes.
no matter of what's going on in the storyline.
Kind of fillers.
Filler scenes, exactly. So, we did filler scenes like yoga and filler scenes like walking and whatever it might be. So Davina and I did a yoga scene, and I was actually pregnant at the time, and I was really active in yoga the whole time I was pregnant. There's tons of videos of me on Instagram with my huge belly doing workout videos.
Yeah.
So I was upside down doing this really crazy pose, and I was obviously pregnant, but they chose to bring Davina back at a different point in the show, so they played that out later down the line. So they cropped me from here up. So it looked like I just had a baby, and then all of a sudden I was upside down doing yoga on my head. So then people were like, well, you can't do yoga on your head if you just had a baby. And that's how all those rumors got started, which was so silly.
No, but didn't the girls go along with it?
Basically what happened was they were asked about it, and they were intentionally vague. They were like, oh, I don't know. We weren't close, so I never really saw. And Maya and Davina were like, no, of course she was. Like,
Yeah.
But they were intentionally being vague to be shady.
See, and that's not. My thing is, and two, I don't know. I don't ever like to bash on anyone, whatever, to each their own. If you feel good about yourself after being a shitty person, that's on you.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of drama between you and Chriselle, wasn't there?
For sure, yeah.
And what did that, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say how it manifested was, it started with her and I being actually really close.
Okay.
And I remember when she came on the show, she was cast and everything, and she was married to Justin at the time. And
who I will say, I have wanted to have on my podcast.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so hot.
So hot. I mean, he is very attractive. But I wanted to have him on my podcast, but apparently he had a really bad podcast experience and won't do them ever again.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. And I was like, hey, I will give him full control because I don't know, I think he's the greatest human being ever.
I think he's so cute and he's so sweet. I've met him multiple times, and he was so sweet and nothing but kind and respectful to me.
Mm-hmm.
So her and I started hanging out, and I got to know her. I was really close with her, but I didn't really know her.
Yeah.
I feel like I know more about you in 5 minutes just from sitting down on the couch. But with her, it was always this wall was up, and she only let you see what was convenient for you to see,
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know, it was a weird relationship. And then what happened was the girls came in, and I don't remember the argument exactly. And then she got mad at me once, and it was just that was it. And the weird thing is we all went into that finale. It was season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the producers were there, and they're like, come on, bring it up, girls. Fight more. We need to get picked up. Come on, you know what to do. We all had our, assignments.
Which is crazy.
Oh, yeah. We all had our assignments. Okay, Davina, you do this, and then you do this, and then you come in at the end and finish it. Done. Got it. Great. So she knew what we were doing, and then it's people take things personally afterwards.
Which you can't do.
Which you can't do.
Oh, so it was would you say it was a very toxic environment?
100%. Because I come from an acting world. I used to do acting. That's how it started. So for me, I was oh, this is an extension of that. Reality is just an illusion. It's not real TV,
Yeah.
And so I was this will be great. I can put on a character and be funny and dress up. And that's all I ever wanted to do. And that's why when they're you're going to be a villain, I'm I'm going to run with this because people are going to be smart enough to know
that this is an act.
Right? This is an act.
Yeah.
And then they weren't. And I was so disappointed in not
you were
the humanity of
yes.
mankind. I'm really, guys?
You really think this is how I am?
Yeah. So
See,
it's hard.
So were you married when the show started?
No, we were dating. My husband and I were dating.
Okay.
Hold on, season 1. Was I single? No, I met him after season 1.
Okay.
Right after the finale. So it was season 2 when I met him, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that process while you were on the show? Did it impact your relationship in any way?
Not until recently, I would say. So when I met him, I told him I was in real estate, and he was like, "Oh, that's so great," which I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, also, like, I'm on a show," which I was.
Yeah.
But he didn't get it,
Because he's from like business world.
Yeah. He's
right?
like computer nerd, like doesn't watch television, doesn't have social media, doesn't. Well, I make him watch the Chrisleys, that's for sure. That's the only show we probably
Thank you.
watch. No,
Thank you.
I think that's the only show we watched, and like maybe a few others. But
Yeah.
he doesn't know anything about pop culture, and he doesn't know who Meghan Markle is or
Stop.
Harry.
That
Prince
is
Harry.
amazing.
I was watching the Prince Harry documentary, and he's like, "Who's Prince Harry?" I swear.
Oh my
can't make
gosh.
So we had no idea what he was getting into. So while I was filming, it was fine. I was like, I would leave, get glam, go to work. But it wasn't until it started affecting our real lives that it started getting difficult. And like when articles were coming out that I faked my pregnancy, like that was so hard. Like you can accuse me of anything in the world, like bribing a client and all those other fake storylines. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like that one was really hard and personal because like there's people that can't have babies and there's people that have struggles all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that was really hard for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, did it take you a while to get pregnant, or did it happen?
Yeah, it did. And it was something that like I wanted my pregnancy to be like so nice and so beautiful, and it wasn't because I was around like these horrible people all the time. And like even after I was pregnant, I was around these horrible people all the time. So it wasn't like the experience I wanted. I didn't have like supportive friends like I wanted, you know what I mean?
Well, it's
So
when
was
you have
hard.
this image in your head of how it should be, and then you're hit with the exact opposite.
Totally.
It had to have taken a toll too, like on your marriage. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Because you're not who you are due to how you're being treated, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. And there was many times where we'd be out in public, and this was years ago. Like it's kind of crazy because it just completely turned around one day, and it was so great. But I used to get so much hate, and I remember like being in Starbucks, and people would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you stole that client from Christian," like, or whatever it was. And I'm like, and my husband was like, "Did she just like, is this for real? People think this is real."
Yeah.
And like he knows, he shot the show. He knows how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's when it was hard, is when like people were coming in and like affecting our real life, and like articles were coming out that was affecting like our real life, and that was hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is rated the #1 ticketing app. I personally love SeatGeek because they make it super easy for me to go and purchase my tickets. For instance, there's a Luke Combs concert here in Nashville, and well, I really want to go. That's where I go to SeatGeek for a last-minute deal. Can easily access the app, go on, look at where my seats are. There is absolutely something for everyone. You may want to go to Morgan Wallen, the Fall Out Boys, Beyonce, and that's where SeatGeek comes into play because they can help you find tickets literally in the click of a button. You can easily access your events, ticketing, see where your seats are. Also, SeatGeek ensures you that you're going to get a good deal, which I absolutely love because who doesn't love a good deal? When it comes to purchasing your tickets, SeatGeek makes it super easy. I always look for the green dots because the green dots mean you're getting the absolute best deal. Red dots, not so much. Every ticket is backed by the buyer guarantee. SeatGeek is also the only app that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. So this makes you feel super confident in purchasing your tickets through the app, with knowing that there's always that chance something could happen and you may not be able to attend, and that's where swaps comes into play. Use my code Savannah for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Again, that's code Savannah for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Make sure that you click the link in the description to download the app and use my code Savannah for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Y'all know I've been on a health kick recently. I mean, I jump on and jump off the train quite often, but right now I'm on, and I'm obsessed with mud water. Also, before I get into Mudwater, y'all, they've got a lot of big words in here and some things that just people from the South cannot say properly, so just bear with me. But Mud water is a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and Ayurvedic herbs. Mud water has only a fraction of caffeine that a cup of coffee does. You get energy without the jitters or the crash of coffee, which none of us enjoy. Each ingredient also was added for a purpose. Cacao and chai for mood and a hint of caffeine, lion's mane to support focus, cordyceps to help support physical performance, chaga and reishi, y'all, and cinnamon for antioxidants. The taste is absolutely amazing. My favorite flavor is matcha because I get the focus and energy that I need in life right now because let's face it, life is hard and we all need a little help sometime. I personally like to drink mine with oat milk. It's just what works best for me. Mud is Whole30 approved, 100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified. Mudwater donates monthly to the Berkeley Center for the Science of Psychedelics, as Mudwater believes that the country is in a mental health epidemic and sees psychedelics as useful tools for individuals with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and other mental health experiences. So go to mudwater.com to support the show and use code UNLOCKED for 15% off. That's mud, M-U-D, WTR.com/unlocked to support the show and use code UNLOCKED for 15% off. Was your relationship ever attacked in any way? Or was there at least a little respect for that?
No, thank God.
Thank God.
No, my husband and I, we have a very mysterious relationship, but in the best way possible. Like, I don't post him at all on my social media ever.
Yeah.
And that's intentional. And I don't post my son ever, and that's intentional. It's very rare that I post my son, and if I do, it's from the behind or like his hands or something.
Yeah.
And that's just because I respect their privacy, and you know, he asked for that, and I was like, yeah, sure. But it's a blessing.
It is, because your life is so public, and then you have that little bit that's just for you.
Totally. Like, I can hold on to it, and so thankfully, no.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it did. I remember, watching some points, and I was like, wow, this is getting really dirty.
Oh, yeah. I remember the storylines about, the ex and everything. I forgot.
Wait, so what was that one?
So there was the reason that they cast one of the girls, who was Emma, was because...
Oh, Emma's the blonde... Is that Emma?
Yeah, nothing behind the eyes. Yeah, that's her. But Heather also too is nothing behind the eyes, but this one's really nothing behind the eyes. But yeah, that's her. And so the reason that they cast her was because we had a mutual ex. So we were getting to a point in the storyline.
Yes, I remember it.
Where we were actually all getting along, and the producers were like, wait a minute, this can't work. And Chriselle and I were actually cool to be in the same room together. So they had to bring someone else in, of course. And so that's who they brought in. And they made up this whole storyline that was just wild.
No.
And so they're like, talk about what really happened, between you and your ex. I'm like, I'm married. I don't give a what he's doing, who he's banging. I don't care. I'm not talking about it.
No.
And it's they make you and they force you. And what happened was, I refused to talk about it. So then what happened is she was at a dinner party, and that's when she was like, well, if Christine won't talk about it, then here's what happened. And obviously her side was a lie, because it was intentional that she knew I wouldn't talk about it because I'm married, and that's disrespectful, and I don't care.
Exactly.
So then obviously I had to clear it up. And I was like, well, that's actually not what happened. This is what happened. And that's how they get you talking about it. And it's so toxic.
Well, yeah, and too, I have major respect for your point of view, because when you're married, nothing else matters.
Yeah, literally.
No one else. I'm not going to sit here and talk about an ex of mine.
No.
When I'm married and have a child with someone else.
That's why I was so horrified. I'm like, this is so horrifying.
And then you have to go home and explain it.
Yeah.
Was there a point to where you went home and was like, hey, this is what happened today?
Of course. Yeah. I definitely told him. I was like, this is what happened. And he knew exactly who it was too. He knew the ex. He had seen him before and everything like that, just, in passing in the office and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I never talked to him or anything like that, but he knew who he was, and so he was just like, well, thanks for telling me. He's like, I knew there was something like very incestuous about this group, and he's like, I was right. Everyone's just
I was right.
like Big Brother. Everyone's just like banging each other. Everyone's banging the boss. Like,
Oh,
it's wild. It's
that's
wild.
insane.
It's insane.
Well, I will say it's really interesting because then Chriselle was with Jason.
Yeah.
And then now he's like with another girl that works there, I think.
Oh, they all work there probably. Yeah.
I'm like, this is like, you do not shit where you eat.
It's so weird.
It is very odd.
That's why I was so shitty at real estate, because I never my boss. That's why I never got any listings. No, for real.
Do you really think, okay,
Oh, yeah.
do you, like,
Yeah.
did Chriselle's career drastically change when she
yeah.
started dating Jason?
Absolutely. I mean, granted, she's only pump the brakes. She's only sold 3 houses, one including her own. But you can look that up on the MLS. Not saying I'm like a mastermind either with real estate. But yeah, the difference is she got preferential treatment when it came to, filming the show and having listings on the show, which was the more important than real life. Because people in, other states don't have the MLS in California. They don't care, you know? So that was the most important thing, was what extrovertedly you can show. You can show that you're doing well. You can show that you're doing this. You can have listings. You can have homes to borrow, have homes to film in. And so that was where it definitely really came in handy.
So was that, like, homes that were shown on the show that would say, oh, this is so-and-so's listing, would it really be or no?
Never.
That is crazy.
Never. No. Because it was really hard. So I remember in real time, we would have clients and I was like, hey, I have a great house and they're willing to film it. Like, I'm so excited. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then what would happen would be like, producers would have their own agendas, or they'd be like, no, we're following this storyline instead. And so it was just like really hard. So they thought it would be easier if they're just like, you know what, let's just scout houses, have a bunch of houses, then we can enter storylines. And I found out how they were getting houses, and I couldn't believe this. My neighbor said that she got a knock on the door one day, and they were like, hi, we're from a television show. We'll pay you X amount of money if we can film in your house. It was like $1,000 a day or something. And she was like, well, what's the show? It was like Done and Done Productions, and then she didn't know what that was. And it was, sure enough, it was Selling Sunset. And I was like, you're kidding me. They're knocking on people's doors to film houses. But also it's like a lot of, friends have houses, and sometimes it is listings.
And too, I feel like Chriselle and Jason, when that relationship started, it was like right on the tail end of her divorce.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. For me, I didn't feel like a genuine
connection.
Mm-hmm. And too, I want to say Heather or Chriselle went on a podcast and definitely talked shit about my family. It was one of the two.
Honestly,
I want to say it was Heather, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was either of them.
Yeah.
Wait, you told me this.
I did. I remember I texted to you.
That's right. I think it was Heather.
Yes, I think it was Heather.
Wait, I don't remember you telling me what the...
I forgot the context of it, but now I really want to find it.
I remember you had told me that, and I was like, wait, what?
You're good. Aaron, I'll work on finding it. Perfect. Yes.
I'm not surprised.
So,
but also, what is there? Your family's the nicest, coolest family ever.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you. So, yeah, she and I was just like, okay, anything to stay relevant.
Like clearly. I said, not everyone has taste. Yeah. Not everyone has taste, Savannah. Honestly.
I love you.
It is what it is.
I love you. And, too, then somehow her husband and my ex-fiance got connected. It's a weird circle jerk. I don't know.
I love a good circle jerk.
It is a weird. I was like, what the heck is happening in my life?
That's the thing with LA, though. That's why I told you, you're never going to find someone here. LA sucks.
So would you ever move away from LA?
Well, that's the thing.
We talked about that.
Yeah. Okay. So you and I were discussing Tennessee.
Yes.
And obviously I'm from Texas, so I'm used to riding a horse and having land. And this is
Yeah.
like so weird for me being out here. So that was kind of our goal. We're like, wouldn't it be great to have a place where I could have horses again and have a ranch and like jump and build an equestrian center? Like that's
Yeah.
my goal in life. So we were looking at Tennessee for a while, actually.
Yes.
What was the question?
What is the question? I love you. Would you ever leave
Oh,
California?
yes, definitely. Yeah, we're
So
looking at it
has
right now.
Has it been so you're still talking about it?
Yeah.
So what are your options?
So we actually just put our house up for sale.
Okay.
It's not on the public MLS yet
Yeah.
because we're still living there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like
Put
post
your-
photos until we're gone.
Exactly.
But yes, we're ready to list it. And my husband is originally from France. And
Mhm.
so he wants to get a place out there where he's from. And I kind of like it. I'm like, bon voyage. I want to be Emily in Paris and eat baguettes and coffee and like wear a French flag on my tits. Like, I love that for me.
I could see you.
You know?
You would be a hit in France. Like a hit.
I love it there. I really do. So that's kind of the plan. But then I do want land.
Yeah.
I do want land somewhere.
Well, get something on like the outskirts, like on the countryside.
Probably. Yeah.
That
I
would
think
be
so.
absolutely amazing.
I think so too.
Dude, I could so see you like take it by storm.
I know. Like a simple lifestyle too, like out in the country.
I would not go with that now. I mean, I could see like a simple.
I mean, a
life spinoff.
simpler life.
I could see a simple life spinoff with you.
Simpler life.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you would move.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and that's actually really funny because we were offered to do a show in the UK and it would be like a 6-month thing. I know.
And?
I think, depending on how my life pans out, if my parents
Judge.
come home early from their extended vacation,
They will.
then we definitely would do it because I think it would be so fun. And too, we're doing another show now, like with them gone.
What network?
So it's definitely not the same network. We're like still in negotiations with people, but we love the exec at the network we're talking to. So it'll be great.
God, I can't wait.
I know. So it'll be great. And too, it will be more reality because I was like, I can't keep doing all
The
this
same
scripted
format,
stuff,
yeah.
the same format.
Yeah.
Life is not a joke, 24/7. Actually hit on some real stuff. So that's kind of what we're in the process.
I love that
Yeah.
for you. I think that'll be great. And that's the one thing, like,
Would you go back to TV?
100%. Yeah, but it
Okay.
would have to be, well, like a producer who wasn't rapey, first of all. Second of all, people
No.
that didn't like manipulate storylines. Like, third of all, yeah, no, it was just battle around. But it was the producer, It wasn't
Really?
it wasn't the
So
network.
who
It
was the
wasn't-
producer?
His name's Adam DeVillo, and he's the one that I think one of the girls from The Hills accused him
Why
of.
does that sound familiar to me?
Because some of the girls from The Hills had problems with him. Like, he got accused of sexual
I feel like
things.
why do I feel like, okay, he looks familiar.
Yeah.
So he's been,
He did The Hills or the OC. I don't fuck The Hills, I think.
oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was just very unpleasant to work with.
I mean, that wasn't even like, that wasn't unpleasant. It made him sound like an angel compared to the stuff he was. It's like he was so dark and dirty. And I just remember like, for me, like, I think you won't really see me in a 2-piece that much in the show. It's only 1-pieces.
Yeah.
And maybe it had like shreds on the side, or maybe it was like really high or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's what I was comfortable with. It's what I wanted to wear. And there
Yeah.
was so many gross conversations about that, and just like wardrobe and bodies and pressuring us to do stuff, and just it was nasty, man. It was nasty.
Oh, and the show's still going on though, right?
Like the NFL, not for long, I don't think.
Not for long.
No.
I do feel like it's kind of died out.
I think so. I think they're really having problems just trying to get drama, and there's so many new cast members. There's another 3 cast members this season, I think.
Wow.
So it's just like the original format's just completely gone. Maya's gone. I'm gone. Vanessa's gone. Davina's pretty much gone. I mean, everyone's gone. Everyone that caused drama or like at least made jokes is gone.
Yeah. And see, I feel like part of that has to do with when you start getting involved with people on a like relationship point of view,
Yeah.
then the head person's just trying to protect that person.
Totally.
So that's where it gets really, really tricky.
That's what it was when Chriselle and Jason were dating. Like,
Yeah.
no one else was like,
You can't touch her. You
no,
can't.
exactly.
See, and that's.
I remember those conversations too, because the girls would be like, okay, we're not going to fight with Maya because she's pregnant, and we're not going to fight with Chriselle because she's boss. Obviously, when I was pregnant, like, where were those rules? But
Exactly. That's insane. So
Yeah.
clearly you were made out to be the villain to everyone. And
From day
was there ever a point that you were like, to where it really got to you? And it was just like you started questioning yourself.
I was never questioning myself at the end of the day because I would go into work, I would film a scene.
Because you came from an acting background.
Yeah, like for me, I approached it different internally. So I was never questioning myself, but I was just questioning my reputation. And that was hard for me because I'd worked so hard in real estate and I'd worked so hard in acting and I worked so hard in everything that I did, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the one thing that was just disappointing is I was like, I don't want people to think I'm like a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm just like dry and silly and I crack jokes and I have no filter, but like I have no mean bone in my body whatsoever. Like I can't hurt an ant.
And especially too, I feel like when your son came along, then it finally was just like,
oh, that's when I was
I'm
like,
done.
The shenanigans doesn't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, I mean.
No, because at that point in time, it's like, all right, my job's to be a mom.
Totally.
And that's it.
Totally. And that's what I did. I was like, bye. Your priorities change. And I was like, bye.
Did they fight you on leaving or no? Because obviously they put out the narrative that you were fired.
Yeah. Well, then, no, I think Netflix made a statement that said it was a mutual decision.
Okay.
And which was true because, I told them and they were very receptive and like very polite and respectful. The network was great, but it was just the producer who was a monster, obviously, and that can kind of really taint everything, unfortunately. But Netflix knew and they were awesome. It's just, yeah, I told them, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
And is your life more fulfilling now?
Oh, totally. Because I get to do the things that I want and I get to be who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I'm on a podcast right now talking with you, like this is what I want. This is amazing. I don't want to be filtered. I don't want to be silenced. I don't want to be shut up. I don't want to be edited. I don't want to be Frankenstein. Like.
Well, yeah, because it gets exhausting. You feel like you're living a lie.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
You feel like you're living a lie. So are you still doing real estate?
I am. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I am. But I'll be honest with you, it's not my love. It's not my passion.
What are you passionate about? What's the one thing you want to achieve?
I'm really passionate about fashion. I'm really passionate about the arts and acting. What I want to achieve, I don't really know.
Hey,
I don't know. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I really don't know, but it's going to be great.
I'm telling you, when it comes to fashion, I'm always like, oh my God. I love it because
it's fun for me.
You have so much fun and you take so many risks. Yeah. And like following you on Instagram, I'm like, yep.
Oh,
that's
great.
amazing.
Thank you.
And like I'm telling you, the hottest mom ever.
Thank
I'm like,
you.
I just want to be half of that and I will be good.
And that's how I can express myself is like through wearing clothes. As I'm sitting here in tore up jeans and a sweatshirt, I'm like, I'm so fashionable, guys.
You still are. Like this outfit is.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. So what would you say to people that have that quirky personality? And because you were made to feel bad.
Yeah, I was.
About who you were and how you acted and how you expressed yourself.
Totally. Yeah. And you kind of see it in season 4. I really suppressed who I was because you're right. I was starting to feel a little guilty about it and a little shameful. And, my jokes, they're funny. Like I called Heather and Tarek Spidey, and that's hilarious. It's like everyone laughed. It's funny. It's silly. It's lighthearted.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt anyone.
No.
It's stuff like that. And I had so much fun doing it. But it's just after a while, it's like they didn't really get my humor. They never really did.
Yeah.
And so,
well, insecure people don't have the ability to consume humor.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. My husband always says that, in order to be humorous, you have to be intelligence and intellect has to be there. And I think there's a very big parallel there.
Yeah.
That's why you watch
100%.
people like you and your dad, you know what I mean? It's just like the light is just on up there, and your mom, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you guys just get it. And that's why I enjoyed watching you guys so much, because like, God, they get it. They really get it.
And like you have to make jokes to get through life.
have
It's part of it. No one wants to live in the dark world all the damn time.
No, you're
And I
absolutely
feel like
right.
a lot of people were just very negative. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like watching that show, it's just like so negative sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't want to feel worse about my life than I did before watching you.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. And but those are the things that really make me good at what I do. And so I
Yeah.
realized that, and I hone in on being weird and quirky and funny and saying what I want, talking about gangbangs or whatever the hell we were talking about earlier. I don't even know.
I love you.
But it's stuff like that, and that's what kind of that's what kind of fuels me, and that's what makes us all different. And God made us all different for a reason.
Yeah. 100%.
Why don't you talk about me the way you talk about Hint?
Oh.
Do an ad for me. Talk about me as nice as you talk about Hint.
Guys, Erin is the most lusciously infused human being that I know. She has the humor of Kevin Hart at times, but at times she can be a bit dry. That's not like Hint.
Oh, wow.
She's sweet like Hint.
It's actually pretty good.
Erin Dugan. It makes you feel good, you know?
Good addition to your life.
Yeah, overall, great addition to my life, just like Hint is. It's fruit-infused water, so it's not just your boring old water, and that's why Hint is my go-to. There's more than 25 flavors. There's also 0 sugar, 0 diet sweeteners, and 0 calories. So Hint is great for everyone in the family, and it's also available at retail and club stores across the U.S., like Walmart, Target, Kroger, or you can have it delivered directly to your door when you order at hintwater.com. Hint water is an obsession that's actually good for you. New customers can get Hint for just $1 a bottle with free shipping when they order 3 cases. That's 36 bottles for $36 and free shipping. Just use the code UNLOCKED at checkout. Again, the code is UNLOCKED.
What a special treat for me on a Tuesday.
See, it's great. Lusciously infused. Unlocked with Savannah is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, while you're listening to me talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you can be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12 months of savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June of 2021 and May of 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. I have been a huge advocate for therapy. You guys know that. I love my in-person therapy, but also I'm traveling a lot right now. And when I travel, I tend to get overwhelmed. I tend to maybe fall behind a little bit. And that's where BetterHelp has come into play for me. BetterHelp is my therapist on the go. And what I also love is that if one therapist doesn't work for you, that's fine. It's not one fits all, and you can get another one. So if one doesn't work, don't shut it down, try it again. And when you're at your best, you can do great things, but sometimes life gets you bogged down and you may feel overwhelmed or just like you're not showing up in the way that you would want to. So, working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of yourself. Because when you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything that life throws at you. So, I really hope you guys join me on this BetterHelp journey. And if you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can help to get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/Savannah today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Savannah. And did the girls give you a tough time about the lifestyle that you live?
Yes. I always had a hard time. They always gave me a hard time about that.
In what way?
Well, I mean, like, they would call me extra, but I would just say, you basic.
I love you.
But really what it comes down to is I was always like that. So even before the cameras were on, like, I was always extra. I was always loud. I was always obnoxious. I always loved flashy things. Like, that was me. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that. And then I think what started happening is there became a point where they started feeling inadequate. And that happens if you're not happy with yourself and if you're not happy with where you are in life. And it doesn't matter what car you freaking drive. It doesn't matter, you know. It just matters, like, who you are on the inside. And so it just, it's
Jealousy is a big thing.
It is.
And too, when you're living a life like you live, you have a great husband, a great kid. I guess it's, someone who's insecure, it could be very easy to dislike you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's their problem, not your problem. Because I look at you and I'm like, okay, she's got to go, and that's going to be me as a mom. Like,
totally.
Yes.
Oh, I see this for you. I can't wait to see you as a mom. You're going to be amazing. And I can't
It's amazing.
see who your husbands are. I've always wanted to have, like, 5 husbands. I was like, wouldn't it be great to have, like, 5 weddings?
My dad's like, Savannah, you're going to be like Elizabeth Taylor. And I was like,
that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't that be great?
I mean, yes and no. If I could leave with more than what I came with, 100%.
Yes, but not like, the breakup part. Not that.
No, that's not great.
No.
I think, you can have another wedding like every 5 years. I feel like every 5 years, like, that's like okay, we made it.
I like that.
Yeah, so make it a new thing.
Yeah, well, we're coming up on like 5, I think, so I need to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and you and your husband, I feel like you're like totally different.
So different.
And so how did that ever, like, what is it that really connected you guys?
Well, I say in season 1 of the show, I just want, like, a nerd or whatever I said in my own words. I don't remember. But I meant that. I was like, I just want, like, a boring, like, nerd. That's what I always wanted, because I don't want someone like me. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine. I'm a tornado having to clean up after me. Like, I'm a mess. I really am. So it works out because we balance each other. He's a Cancer and I'm a Libra. So he's a little more, like, emotionally sensitive, but I'm kind of grounded and
See, I feel like with me, it's hard for me to deal with emotionally sensitive people. Like, it takes me a minute because I'm very much just like, I just grew up in an environment where you could get into a fight and then 5 minutes later, hey, let's go to lunch.
Exactly.
Like, so it's hard for me, and whenever someone's like, that really hurt my feelings, I'm like, if that hurts your feelings, then you're in for a rude awakening.
Well, I think he hid it in the beginning. That's why I was able to put up with it. I think in the beginning of relationships, everyone, like, puts on their best performance and their best act. And so if I would have known that in the beginning, I was like, bye. No, I'm just joking.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're so different, but it works so well.
Yeah, because so he's very quiet. He's like a computer programmer, but that's just like in public.
Yeah.
But at our house, we're funny, and he's cracking jokes, and he's hysterical, and I love when he's gossiping with me, and I, like, explain to him, like, Hailey Bieber and Selena Gomez, and I'm, like, trying to make him understand it. And I'm like, what do you think? So whose side are you on? You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
But it's fun because I'm like, all the fun is, like, behind closed doors, but when you see him, you just think he's, like, shy and whatever, but he's more than that.
That's amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So your son is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how has your relationship dynamic changed since having a kid?
I would just say, I mean, the obvious is like we don't have sex as much as we used to.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah, and I think it's just because you're so freaking tired at the end of the day.
And is that by like your choice or his?
Well, I don't have a nanny on the weekends, and that's my choice,
Okay.
And so like on the weekends, I'm exhausted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so I'm just like, okay. But other than that, no, I would say it's. I mean, you grow closer, obviously.
Yeah.
You have more in common, obviously, because you have this like human
Human that
that's
came from the both of you.
literally making a mess everywhere, and
That's amazing, though.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Isn't it so crazy too to look at your life like from being on the show to now?
It's so weird.
And you're great. I feel like part of you is grateful for certain things that came from it.
yeah.
And so like what other projects? You wrote your book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what other projects are you working on?
So that was definitely my biggest and my most exciting project. That was like I brought you one, by the way.
You are an
I brought two
angel.
actually. For me, that was just like so fun because it was something that people always asked me about, was like success and confidence. And I was like, well, confidence isn't really something I was born with. I mean, like, yes, I had a personality,
Yeah.
but it was also rejection and this and that and, so many other external factors. And so I kind of wrote a book about, like, how do you be confident? Like, how are you a boss bitch, And so
Yeah.
it's called How to Be a Boss Bitch. And it's also like, financial tips and like, how to save and how to say no, like all these great, great, great tips. So that was my favorite thing I've ever done, I would say.
Well, I see, and that's what I love about you because you're like on the outside, you're fabulous. But when it comes to business, like you are very savvy.
Totally. I'm very, no one knows this about me, but I'm actually, when it comes to like money, I'm very, very, I don't want to say cheap. That's not the word.
I would not
But,
use
like,
that to describe
What's the
you.
word? No, I'm just very like, I'm very good with money.
Conscious.
Thank you.
Okay.
See, I don't even know what the word is, but yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm very like, I'm very good with like finding deals also. Like I love that. I love a good deal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
what
yeah.
was the last good deal that you got?
Well, I talk about this in my book, and I always wanted a Rolex, and my first Rolex that I got was from the Real,
Okay.
and obviously it was used, but there's a huge premium that's taken off of that because it's used and because it's not new, even though it's basically 2 years old,
Yeah.
And so I got a huge deal on that, and I talk about that. Also, wholesale diamonds, people don't know about. They go to Cartier, and they just buy one ring, and they don't know that, oh, yeah.
Here.
Oh, yay.
Here we go.
So, yeah, all sorts of things
See,
like that.
that's the thing. That's a whole other world in itself. Like
Yeah.
the wholesale diamonds. I remember, like even whenever I went to get engaged, I was like, okay, you can go to Tiffany and buy a ring that's
Such a scam.
like pea size
I know.
for an extravagant amount of money,
I know.
or you can go and buy like a wholesale diamond 5 times the size
Literally.
for like less than what you would have paid there.
I know. So that's where I
do
have
love
mine.
that. I do love the good deals, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, okay, you'll have to keep me up to date
Yeah.
on the good deals.
It's just about being savvy, really. Sure, I love to splurge on certain things, but then like I choose where like the discretionary income. I choose where things kind of like come and go.
For sure.
fun.
And it's okay. So, is your husband, is he as into all the things that you're into?
No, he looks like a homeless man who lives on Skid Row. No, he does.
I love you.
No, I'm not kidding. He had me shave his head the other day because I do his head and his beard. I'm really good
Stop.
at it. I do my dogs too. Yeah, kind of a big deal. A lot of
Kind
talent.
of a big deal.
A lot of talents. So I shave him down, and then he wears the same like Lulu every single day, and only because I bought him Lulu. Before that, it was like, I don't even know, like from 1942 t-shirts. And like when I met him, he was wearing like khakis and like button-up blue shirts and like vests over
Stop.
it. And I was like, okay, you don't live in Boston. You're not a professor. Like we
He can't be
with
doing this.
But no, he doesn't care about any of that stuff.
That's amazing.
at all. He wears like the same thing every day, and he looks just homeless.
He just looks homeless, but like you're homeless.
Yeah, am I homeless? Yeah,
You love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I say. I'm like, if I was with someone that had as much of a personality as I did, I would be miserable.
Yeah,
Because I exhaust myself sometimes. So it's like I don't need someone else exhausting me.
I know. No, I know. And that's the thing that's fun is like he's like I love having like a project. I love a good like project. So like he was my project because it was like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. It was like tuning into an episode when you saw Selling Sunset because it's like before and after. You're like, no way.
No
and I was
way.
like, listen.
Wait, how did he show up to like the first day of filming when he filmed with you?
I don't remember, probably because I dressed him.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely dressed him. So I got him all these like, cool fitted shirts and like black drip jeans. And I was like, I took everything blue out of his closet and threw it out. I was like, you own gray, black, white, nude now. And if I see a navy blazer sneaking in here, I'm going to burn it.
I'm going to burn it.
But yeah.
That's amazing. I've always said like there's something to be said for someone who is just like smart, normal,
Yeah, it's not me. I wouldn't know.
No. I'm saying not me, but like the person I end up with,
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Because trust me, I've tried it all.
Uh-huh. I feel you. You're going to end up with someone who's like, has their own business, like has been doing it for a while. Like,
Yes.
not this type of guy. You know what I mean?
I love
no athletes. Athletes
are
just
awful.
No, they're awful.
Did you date any
Of
athletes?
course. I mean, fake, like the fake one. I dated a fake athlete, actually.
Oh my God. What's a fake athlete?
Well, he's this guy that told everyone he played for the Lakers, but he didn't. He just like tried out.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He could. That's an easy thing
I
to
don't
figure
know.
out.
I didn't Google things back then. I had a BlackBerry.
I had a BlackBerry.
No,
So you believed him?
I did. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But athletes are just, he was
Athletes
by
are awful.
proximity an athlete.
Yeah, athletes are awful.
They are, right? What
I
is
know.
that?
But then I question myself for, you would think, okay, first time, second
But
time, you should have learned your lesson. Third time?
When you met the first one, he wasn't an athlete, right? He kind of grew into an athlete.
The first one? No, he was. I guess the first athlete, I like talked to Chandler Parsons for like a hot second.
Oh, I love that. For
And
you.
then Luke he played for Duke and then went on to the NBA. And then Nick was a hockey player. So
Right,
they
right,
all
right.
were like athletes, but just not my thing. Done. Swearing it off forever.
No, it's good for like one night, but then beyond
night.
that, you're like, oh.
Well, that's my thing too, is being 25. I'm like, okay, do you settle down? Do you not?
No, you don't. No.
Because how old were you when you got married?
I was 29 when I got married.
Okay.
I'm 34 now.
Okay.
And I think those are your good years. Like, I would say I was like a hoe for show for like a solid, like, I think up until I was 29. Even then, I told Christian, I was like, I was dating like 3 people when I met you.
Were you?
Yeah.
But see, I love
Of
how
course.
you don't give a shit. Like, you
No.
are fully who you are. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love that
Totally.
because so many people try to hide
No.
everything. And that's what makes you so awesome and special.
Thanks.
Is you're just like, hey, this is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Oh,
Okay, so I have to hear about this. How did you date 3 people at the same time without blowing your cover?
So basically, one of them was about to get deported to Serbia. I feel like this is an episode of 90 Day Fiance. No, but for real, that's what happened. So we met on Hinge.
Okay.
And because it was hard to meet people back then, I didn't really go out. I was working in real estate a lot.
Yeah.
And I had open houses every Saturday and Sunday. So I'd never go out on the weekends. So we met on Hinge. And he was great, super hot, 6'6",
Okay.
Looked like an athlete, but wasn't an athlete, which was good.
God.
Yeah, thank God. But when
He got deported?
Well, yeah. So then what happened was there was this new law that was in effect or something. I think at the time, was it Trump who was president at the time? I don't know. So basically he said, I'm going to have to get married or I have to get deported. And I was like,
No.
am I being like scammed? Is this like, I was like,
He was
like,
trying to
yeah.
get a, like,
I was like looking for the hidden cameras. I was like, am I like, is this for real? And he was like, well, you know, like he kind of asked me indirectly. And I was just like, are you crazy? It's weird. And then the second one, no, that was just like fun though. That was the second one. It was just like fun. It wasn't real.
it wasn't real. Okay.
And then,
So when did you call the others off? At what point in time?
so Christian and I were in Tokyo, and I remember the guy in Serbia. It was really hard to keep that up because I was like, oh, this time difference is like brutal. Because
Yeah.
now I'm on his time difference.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to sleep night. And so I was like, okay, this is getting too much. And I was like, you know, Christian is actually cool. And so I was like, that's when I was like, sorry, I can't do this anymore.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when did you tell Christian that you were dating other people?
I would say probably like after like a year, it became like a funny joke. You know, I was like, because he would always say things like, oh, you have tons of options. I'm like, obviously, I was dating like 8 people when I met you. And he's like, oh. I'm like, no, I'm
really?
serious. Like, no, really. He's like, what? And I was like, he's like, oh, yeah, well, I guess I went on dates too. I was like, shut up.
Shut up. No, you didn't. You were
Stop.
totally in this.
Stop.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That seems like such a me thing. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And like, only I would have like been in an almost 90-day fiance situation.
That,
So weird.
I cannot believe that.
Mhm. That shit happens all the time
Did
though.
you even, I feel like it happens a lot in LA.
It does. People do it.
What, were you even considering it?
No, absolutely not.
No.
No. Just like I only want to live once, I only wanted to get married once. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
you
See,
know.
and I love that because I've spoken so many times before how divorce is just like, oh, if it doesn't work out, you can just get divorced.
not for me.
No. And so have you, obviously you've been married almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And you guys have gone through the ebbs and flows of it.
For sure.
Like you have great moments, you have really shitty moments.
For sure.
But I feel, so have you had a point in time to where you're like, this is a struggle?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, marriage is hard work. And I
Yeah.
know that because my parents have been married for, gosh, they were high school sweethearts. So I don't even know how
Oh.
long that was. You know, and I always knew like, you know, no matter how hard it is, like marriage is one time. You only do it one time. And, you know, like you don't want to get divorced. Like it's not something that is fun. It's not something that anyone wants to do. But it wasn't like, oh, it was a sin or anything. I mean, obviously, you know, there was that part of it that I grew up with, you know, being in the church and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely hard. And we have times where I'm like, oh my God, we're so different. Like, why don't you care about this Prince Harry and Meghan Markle documentary? I mean, like things like that.
Yeah, just little, for sure.
Just little things.
And so you
yeah.
mentioned like growing up, obviously in the South, in the church, has that been a struggle for you with being so out there with your life? And like, was there any criticism that came from maybe back home, people
Yeah.
you knew, family members?
I would say yeah, and let me know if you've experienced the same thing. But what I experienced was, okay, so you know you're a Christian woman, however, you know you're so sexual on certain covers and pictures and things like that, and it was like, you know, it was like such a double standard. It's like you can't be a Christian woman and love your body at the same time, God forbid.
Yeah.
And it was the Christian people that were so like,
Hateful.
yes.
Which is so shocking to
I
me.
know.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I love Jesus, but I like to cuss a little bit.
Yeah, of course. I
Like,
get it.
It doesn't mean you have to live a perfect life. Obviously, I want to strive to be the best that I can be and be a kind, loving human being. But it doesn't mean you're never going to like screw up, say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing.
Of course.
And that's the hard part is I feel like that's what gives religion such a bad rap
Yeah.
is when you have Christians who are so judgmental. And
The
I'm
most. They are the
I'm
most.
like, where does this come from?
I know.
That's insane.
So that's kind of the only thing that I really experienced.
Yeah.
And also just like on the show, they're like, oh, how is that possible if you're such a bitch?
See,
What?
I would never have survived on a show like that.
It's really hard, girl.
I don't think I ever would have survived. I think I would have been you.
It was hard. And that's why like I would go home and I wouldn't hang out with those people. Like when I say I was on my own island, like I really was, because like I was like, I did not want to like hang out with them afterwards. I didn't want to associate with them. I just got bad energy all around from the get-go. Yeah.
But hey, now you're on to bigger and better things.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? We're both, we've both died out. Yeah. We're both off of TV now. Yeah, maybe we'll just come back together. That'll be, what a plot twist.
I love that for us.
See, I think that would be a great idea.
But you need this sort of like death and then resurrection to fully then go out and like understand how you want to live your life.
Exactly. And be who you truly want to be.
Totally.
That's been the biggest blessing out of this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Coming from TV for 10 years, something that was heavily scripted, everyone had this image of me who they thought I was, and I'm this spoiled, stuck up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, do you think...
I never thought that from watching the show.
But it's just so crazy, because then people are like, oh, living off your dad's money, why don't you go get a job? And I'm like, do you think I do this for your entertainment? Do you think I do this just for free and shits and giggles? Like, no.
You think this isn't a job?
Exactly.
I'm literally mic'd up. Look at my makeup. My hair is teased to the Lord. Like, you think I woke up like this? This is work.
And to having to be on all the time.
That's the thing that people don't understand.
No. Like, if you're having a bad day, you have to put that aside and you just have to turn it on.
That's why it's got to be so hard for you. Like, if you're doing something like this and you're like, oh, I can't even imagine. You're like, oh, I don't feel like it today. It's like, no, you have to. You have to come. And you said you were here earlier doing an interview too. So it's like, it's exhausting to be on all the time.
It is. It is. And I'm like, okay, starting at 15 years old, I've been getting paid. I'm like, so I'm not quite sure where everyone's getting this narrative of like, where do you get your money? What do you do for a job? And I'm like, it's just so crazy how the thought process works. And so now being off of TV and having a podcast, getting to say whatever I want to say.
And having so many amazing brands, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I now have the freedom to just do life however I want to do it. And there's something exciting about that, to finally be able to like find your voice.
Totally. Yeah.
Because with it being stifled, like, the feeling. You're just like, I feel like I'm robbing myself.
Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. And that's why, like, now I don't take anything for granted now. I'm like, I only do things that make me happy, that I want to do. That's why when you called, I was like, oh my God, it's so obvious.
I literally, and too, it's so, the thing I've struggled with recently with doing this whole podcasting thing is whenever people like from podcast one reach out to book people, they're like, hey, I know you have a personal relationship with this person. Do you want to reach out to them? And I'm like, no, I'll let you guys reach out, because I never want friends to think, oh, I like feel obligated to do it because she's asking me herself.
Interesting.
Because it's like there's two completely different worlds. It's
I didn't think about that.
You can be friends with someone, not do business with someone.
Right.
And I never want someone to feel obligated to do something.
Yeah.
So it's easier to say no to someone else than it is that person. You know what I'm saying?
That's so funny. No, you're absolutely right, though. That makes sense, because, no, I do have another friend who has a podcast, and she's been telling me forever, like, come on my podcast, and I love her to death.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, But then, like, she's going to see me on this, and she's like,
oh, gosh.
I'm like, girl, I don't really go out of my house.
No, I don't go out of my house. It's just happened to happen. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just have to say I absolutely love you.
I love you. And I've loved you for years, and I just
Thank you.
I'm going to give you my closing argument.
First
of all, I loved you on the show. I've watched you for years. My family's watched you. My husband's watched you.
That's
and he's
amazing.
like, oh my God, that girl's so funny. She's just like you. She's so cute. And I was like, I know.
Stop.
And I love your spirit and your heart, and you have such a bright light, and you're doing such big things. And I'm so happy that you have this podcast, because I could watch you talk all day long. So
thank you. You really are. This is my favorite
gift.
interview by far. Like, just my favorite podcast episode by far.
That makes me happy.
So also too, guys, make sure that you go and get Christine's book. You can order it on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. I'll also do the Audible where I read it. That was really fun.
Okay, I could definitely
Barnes
listen
Noble.
to that.
Yeah, it's
So,
fun.
How to Be a Boss Bitch by Christine Quinn. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah.
It was fun.
Oh, so fun.